Hi, this is David with David's Equity Solutions, where I work hard to help sellers keep more of their equity. A lot of people come to me and ask, well, what about my situation? I have no home equity, or I have very little home equity. What does that mean for me? Or maybe they're on the other side of that spectrum. I have no loan, or I only have, a few $1,000s left on my home loan. What can you do for me? Um, as with all the other videos I produce, please note I'm not a licensed tax or legal professional. If you want tax or legal advice, please consult your licensed tax or legal professional, as they can help you with your specific situation. So when people come to me, if they have low equity, sometimes they realize, hey, it's really hard for me to find a realtor to work with me. And I don't know why. I'm having trouble going the traditional route of selling my house. Um, if you look at my video on the numbers for a typical Central Florida house sale, you'll see in there I do an example with a $300,000 house. And at the end of the day, after all the expenses and the fact that houses typically sell for about 97% of the listing price, at the end of the day, on that 300,000, the seller walks away with about 250,000. So in that example, if you had a $270,000 mortgage with 10% equity, you listed your house for 300,000. When you sold it, you would be $20,000 underwater because of all of the costs associated with closing. So that means you'd have to pay $20,000 out of pocket. Realtors know this. They know that in those situations, they don't always get paid, and so they're not always willing to work with low equity properties. That's okay. I am willing to work with low equity properties. My specialty is helping sellers get more equity. I don't charge sellers a dime for what I do. I make my money from the investment in the property and from potential buyers or renters who come along later on. So basically, you can you know work with me. I'll structure some options or some different ways we can do a deal, and we can discuss the pros and cons of those options. And I can help you get out of your home. You might not have to pay anything out of pocket. You might even walk away with a little bit of cash or with, more likely a stream of payments that'll come into your pocket after you sell the house or after you exit the house. Um, Also, with some of the transaction structures I can do, you might get the benefit of loan pay down over time. So you might still you might be a lender on the home, and over time your loan would get paid down, and so you would get that benefit in addition to the other benefits of the transaction. So yes, I can work with people with low or no equity. Can still make a deal work, and I'd be happy to discuss in detail for your specific situation the different options we have for that situation. For those with high equity, so let's say you don't have a mortgage on your home, you own it free and clear, or maybe you've almost paid it off. Well, this is where I think people think more about the equity they have in their home because they get every dollar at the end of that closing statement in their pocket, right? It affects their net worth, and so they're typically looking to maximize the amount they get from the sale of their house. Typically, they're flexible. Folks with high equity are flexible. Um, and so they're willing to consider sales where you don't get all of the cash up front. Like I've said in other videos, if you want to get paid all cash up front, I'm probably not the guy. I'm going to give you the same offer every other investor is going to give you. And you're better off going with a retail and buyer. If you're willing to consider payments over time, I can beat retail buyers uh, and I can beat other investors. So that's when you should give me a call or give me an email and we can talk. Also, a lot of folks that have a lot of equity have typically owned their house for a while, which means there are probably some capital gains involved. Talk with a tax professional. You might be liable for some of those capital gains. And by doing some of the deal structures I offer, I can provide you the opportunity to defer and spread out those capital gains over time and potentially reduce your total tax liability. So not only do you get more from the sales price of your home, but also you would pay less in taxes. So it's a double win. Uh, in the transaction, your security would be the house. Typically, these houses, after the transaction, they can often be improved. And in that case, you have even better security because improving the house improves the house value, so it improves your security in the transaction. And finally, we can structure this to provide you with long-term cash flow, long-term wealth, and to help out with any sort of inheritance situations. We can get top dollar for you if you're working on behalf of an estate. We can get top dollar for the estate, and we can then have a cash flow stream that will be paid out to the heirs over time. A lot of people find this really attractive because sometimes when heirs receive a lump sum of money, they don't use it in the wisest of fashions. And this provides kind of a way for heirs to manage their finances, and they just kind of get an annual check from this transaction. And over the lifetime of the transaction, they get more money than they would have otherwise, and they get it dispersed over time, so it allows them to be, to manage the funds better. So anyway, those are the main points for folks that come from different areas of the equity spectrum, low equity or high equity. I hope you found this video helpful and informative. If you have any questions, please give me a call or shoot me an email, and we can talk about your specific situation. Thanks, and I hope you enjoyed this.